And they always got these. And they always having fun.
Hello everyone. I'm just discovering some new technical things about borrowing stuff that's already been in Germany and I hadn't checked before I arrived on the stage. And that is this, a friend of mine's Marimba Lumina doesn't have the same MIDI output setup as mine. So I will make a few adjustments. Won't bother with the radio, unfortunately. But we'll be fine. Not an idea. No, that's not going to work. So all of the stuff that I'm playing is stuff that's either part of Buchla USA's inventory or things I've got here in Germany. And so one of the things I was going to talk about was that very subject. So let's just see how it goes. It's 2 o'clock, right? All right, let's go. Start at the top. Okay, let's put that up. And so, one of the things I'm talking about today is control and happy accidents using saved settings and random CVs. We're using Buchla instruments, using the 200E system over here, the Easel with an aux card and USB memory cards, firmware cards, and actually USB firmware cards, and a guest appearance of this Marimba Lumina that lives in Germany and is belonged to a friend of mine, and who I just borrowed, though I unfortunately did not turn on before this afternoon. Nonetheless, we will get through this. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, first of all, in case you don't know, is so that's today's system. You see it right there. You see it right there. We're going to be using the various things to drive each other within the system. It's one of the unique things about the Buchla system is it's the possibility of interconnecting various things and using an internal MIDI bus as well as obviously external MIDI connections to it. Just to give you a quick primer for those who are or are not familiar with Don Buchla's work. So I started working with Don in 1993, but clearly before that he had done quite a bit more in the early 60s. I'm going to give you a 30-second primer on Buchla. So here we go. If you've got that up there. So we start with controllers. I focus on controllers because he really was interested in how to control various, not just the sound generation, but how to control the sound generation. We start with touch plates, various forms throughout the 60s and 70s. We've got things that are just pieces of art. We've got things that look like the Easel, like this. We've got things that look very much like the Easel, 1970s. This is the music Easel of 1973. This is a sort of a contemporary reproduction of that. You see here on the left a memory card, or we would call it a program card, where you would solder resistors to it. And that was a way to preserve your setup so that you could do the same thing each time. You would have to, you could switch this remote switch between setups, and there you go. You have something that you've saved. Well, we made that a little more contemporary by putting a digital reproduction of that here, in that you can save the settings. They get sent via DAX to the CVs using the exact same header that he used in 1973 that connects to all of these faders. So forward thinking Don was. We move up to the 1977 300 series, digitally controlled modules, something he always did. He was interested in not just interconnecting them with patch cables, but digitally. We got instruments that he used as compositions. We have keyboards. It's a common myth that Don didn't like keyboards. It's not that he didn't like them. He thought another interface would be more appropriate for electronic instruments, but he had no problem with putting keyboards on things, as you can see. 500 series. This is the digitally controlled analog synth. You go back to 71, System 101 had a keyboard. Touche, 78, was a very good friend of David Rosenboom, and he liked to make things for his friend. Now, the touch plate was Morton Subotnick's favorite interface, but as a keyboardist, David Rosenboom loved the Touche. We get things that had keyboards and didn't have keyboards in the same series. The 400 and 406, essentially the same, but one had a keyboard, and one had this other thing, which actually, if you look closely, has keyboard patterns in the touch plate. As you can see, it has patterns of 3s and 2s. You could make it a keyboard. 700, there's similar things. You get bottom keys are like white keys. You have patterns of 3s and 4s. Here you get Thunder, which you don't have any patterns of, but put all the things Don loved together about cultures and ergonomics and his love of Native American culture and just the controllability of it. And that's another thing. Then we go back, so that's all touch plate kind of stuff. Jumping back to the 60s, he was actually working with an optical ranging device for the blind. And if you look at, it's LiDAR essentially, which was very new at the time, but now is ubiquitous in sensing people in front of cars and whatnot. And if you look at the schematics on it, it almost looks like he's building a synth, but actually this is all about optical ranging for the blind via this handheld device. We jump optically to the 90s and 2008, and we have Lightning, which is a controller I use quite a bit, and that's a lot of fun. Optically sense XYs, and then you jump to things that didn't make it. Wind, Thunder 2, which is an optically sensed drumhead. You have collaborations, not just with, this one's with Keith McMillan. I did the circuit board layout for this one with optically sensing part of it. So most of this was Keith's device, but he had one element he added to it. We jumped to the 223, which we have now, and things that didn't make it, like the rain, the development of things that made it so far and then stopped and then continued. That was the Marimba Lumina. Here's 3 of us. They usually took a team of 3 of us to make something, a software designer. Hardware, which was myself and Don, the primary designer. And there you see Don and I with the Marimba Lumina. Gold, curved one. This is here I have a non-curved one, and here's this slightly contemporary, more contemporary version. It became Nearfield Multimedia's instrument. Now it's mine. It's not a Buchla USA instrument, sadly, but that's why I'm going to focus on these things. But it's a nice interface for myself. He had the piano bar with Moog, Fireflies, which never made it out. And there's Don. And now let's back to where I'd like to start, and that is about this. Now we have, and at a certain point I'm just going to play that. I wish I had my clock in front of me, but I don't. So we have a memory card. This system I didn't have when I arrived. I actually had to download all of my settings to it via a memory card, not unlike the old memory cards. And this iProgram card, which I haven't checked yet, but I think it's fine because you just plug it in and it should be fine. So that downloaded all the settings here so that I can move between patches. And it's just really an update of what Don was doing all along. And then we have on here, this thing called both modes. So you have things that say you can get a patch going. To expect, but when I hit this, so you can hear it's actually playing in the computer right now, very quietly. I don't know why, I'll figure that out later. And it's in remote mode, and if I put it into playing both mode, it combines settings. So you get the idea. So that's using a standard easel, just as it was. It doesn't have any memory built in. That's all actually on the memory card. Changing it, now what I'm doing is I'm in both mode. I don't know what to expect because it's actually not what's built into here. It's a combination of what's happening there and what I do here. So I combine what I'm doing in the front panel with a so that's that. Then you get on to things like using this firmware card, which we're already using, and as you can see on this, I'll bring that up, what's on the screen. I'm going from this 225, or this isn't the 225, I'm going from what we call the 225M, which is the firmware card here, stuck in here in the USB, or rather the memory card connection, and going to the computer, going back out from the computer to this device. So I can actually play, if I play this, you can hear it's playing it's playing the easel clearly, but let's see if it's playing over here. Come back. Not yet. So now it's playing this. I can do the same kind of thing here. I can actually put it into unpredictable settings. That is by changing setups here. So that's the idea there. And going from there, I think you get the idea. Maybe I should just, is it time to play? It's time to just play. So let's just play. Oh, I don't have time to do the 222 random stuff. But one of the great things about this thing here is you can put it into a mode. Put it into a mode without USB connected. That where you can just randomly enter information into it. So we've got usually when you think of this device, it seems like quite a bit to program all of this. But so a lot of this was created when I was just playing around with something like this, where you just take each setup and you put random pulses in, so you get an edit, and you go to a cycle you like, and you just randomly put things in there, and then you play it. You have to be playing cycle 16. But you get the idea. So you can randomly throw things all over this device, and that's the way I've created a lot of these things. I'll just try to start playing, and we'll go from there.